there you are. All right, let's get you back up there. So, for those of you guys who watched my last video, you'll remember that we ended up calling the debate between my system dynamics professor and I a draw. But if you haven't seen that video, pause this one and go check it out. If you look back to that experiment, you'll recall that we could fly our drone using traditional quadcopter controls through some hoops with really no big issues. But if we dive deeper back into that same situation, we can see some issues that crop up that suggest that maybe there is more to this problem than meets the eye. Let's check it out. So, first, I made the statement that we were flying this quadcopter using traditional controls without any sort of control theory or integrated system dynamics. Though, this isn't entirely accurate. Recall that this is what I said that our system looks like, where X is our input and Y, which in this case is the position of our drone, is our output. However, because I was the one controlling the drone and observing where it is in relation to where we needed it to be, we can expand the system to include a feedback loop that is me correcting any error in our desired versus actual position, causing our system to look a little bit like this. If we wanted to, we could even go further and expand our system blocks to include things like motor allocation or noise or disturbances such as wind. So in essence, I am part of the control system, meaning that in order to fly a drone without any control theory, I must be removed from the feedback loop, and our input just looks like, well, a voltage sent to the motors. And trying to fly a drone like this would be analogous to trying to drive a car without being able to look at the windshield, which I've heard is difficult. Next, let's discuss a little bit of an optical illusion that went on in the first video. Before we scaled down our quadcopter and put it in the game engine, the thing was 50 feet across. That's as far from the camera to me. Well, not me, but that me. That's like 8 of me laying down, 7 if I'm on my tiptoes. But why does the size of the drone matter, you might ask? Great question, thanks for asking. For that, let's look at another analogy. So, I've got this pole, which used to be part of an old broomstick. If we take it and we balance it on top of one finger, you can see that we can keep this up pretty nicely and almost indefinitely. But if we take something far smaller, like a pen, and try to do the exact same thing, it falls. The pen is far more unstable, and really, I'm just not quick enough to catch it. This rotational instability has to do with what's called a moment of inertia, which is an object's ability to resist angular acceleration. For a broomstick or a pen like this, it's proportional to m times L squared, which means if we half the L by cutting the broomstick in half, it becomes about 4 times harder to control. So let's look at this from another perspective. I mentioned earlier that I wasn't quite quick enough to be able to balance a pen upright on my finger. And to understand why I'm not quick enough, let's look at a system that is similar to this, a pendulum. A pendulum is described by this differential equation. Additionally, the pendulum's natural frequency, or the time that it takes to swing back and forth, is dependent primarily on the length of the pendulum. The natural frequency equation shows us that as our broomstick gets longer, the frequency gets smaller. So the system is slower to oscillate, meaning that I can make these corrections quicker. Bottom line, longer broomsticks are easier to control because I have more time to correct it. And finally, another thing that's important to recognize is that this system is stable. Any disturbance, say swinging the pendulum, will eventually result in the pendulum coming back to an equilibrium point, which is rest, just hanging. With what we know about this system, let's take the entire pendulum and flip it on its head. No, guys, just the pendulum. So now, this new system, this inverted pendulum, is identical to a broomstick being balanced. With this inverted pendulum case, everything we just talked about still remains true, but this system is unstable. Any disturbance in the pendulum from being perfectly vertical is going to send the system all out of whack, not towards the initial position as with the regular pendulum. The natural frequency explains why I have more time to correct objects with longer moments of inertia, or longer broomsticks. And our pole experiment earlier illustrated the effect of larger or smaller moments of inertia. So, what does all of this mean? All of this matters because if we shrink down our quadcopter from 50 feet substantially to a normal size, a mere couple of inches, we'll get a much smaller moment of inertia, and I'll have much less time to correct any errors I create. And now that we've made it through all of the physics and dynamics of the system, let's go back into our game engine with a normal sized drone and see how we fly now. Alright, so we're back in our simulation, and this time we're using an Xbox controller because it makes flying the drone just a little bit easier. Now, way down there, we can see our quadcopter that's now been scaled down to just 1 foot across. And if you remember back to our first video, we were pretty much experts at being able to fly our drone through these hoops by the end. So without further ado, let's give this thing a whack and see if we can get through the hoop. Alright, so as you can see, this drone is a lot more unstable now. Anytime I try to make some small little correction, I end up overcorrecting and then overcorrecting for that overcorrection and then doing that, just crashing straight into the ground. Now, a lot of this does have to do with the drone's smaller moment of inertia and all those other things that we talked about, but really it just brings us to a familiar conclusion. Just like the pen, I'm far too slow to control this drone, much less get it through these hoops anymore. You might ask yourself then, where do all these little experiments lead us? My very first experiment in the first video suggested that there was no control theory or system dynamics involved in how we flew the drone the first time. However, because I was using visual tracking to follow the drone and correct the mistakes as I was making them, I was inside that system being a feedback control loop. And just because I didn't program a feedback control loop doesn't mean that one didn't exist. Next, our system was a little bit flawed from the beginning. I was flying a 50-foot wide quadcopter, which is far bigger than any one that you or I could hope to buy commercially. And then our analogies with the broomstick and the pendulum showed us that these larger objects have smaller natural frequencies, which mean that they're slower to spin out of control. And with the bigger drone, I fell within the requisite time needed in order to correct my mistakes as I was making them. But as we saw with the smaller drone, human control is just far too slow for the system properties. Next, all the factors that led up to me calling the last video between my professor and I a draw were under perfect conditions, so we didn't have to worry about things like disturbances like wind, motor allocation, or even just imperfect equipment. And if we were to model all of these things, it would just add another layer of complexity that control theory would help us solve. Which brings us to another important realization. Control theory, system dynamics, all that stuff is not some book of sacred text that's locked in a bank vault guarded by armed guards 24/7. It's really in everything we do, whether it's simple as me using visual feedback in order to correct the position of the drone as I'm flying it, or it could be as complex as designing an electronic controller that's speedy enough to correct these mistakes before I even really know that I've made them. So I guess it's time to admit defeat. I was wrong, and control theory is imperative to being able to fly a drone with any level of success. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was a ton of fun to make. If you did enjoy it, consider dropping a like and maybe subscribing, but regardless, I'll see you next time.